Bitcoin is right now jumping out of its most important support zone. What are the probabilities? Can we have a reversal and new all-time high? Or is this just a redistribution cycle and we will crash very soon again? Let's analyze.
My crypto paradise.
Hello ladies and gentlemen of the Paradise Club, this is Simon from My Crypto Paradise. Let's analyze Bitcoin. So in the previous videos, you know that we've been expecting Bitcoin to start dumping from $115,000 towards this 1.618 Fibonacci retracement level and towards this support zone. So if you take a look right now at the 1 hour time frame, here is the resistance and here is the 1.618 Fibonacci retracement level. So we have already touched that zone. We have actually touched the previous 1.272 precisely. We have almost hit the 1.618 Fibonacci retracement level. So the question is, are we right now about to have a reversal, or is this just a redistribution event and we are gonna continue in the downside? We will analyze the probabilities in this video. So let's jump quickly through what's going on right here. So you know that we have spectated this huge opening of some big players short positions right here at this small candle. They hit it very well, but important thing is that they have opened that at around $110,000 and they haven't closed it just yet. All right, as you can see, the retail is increasing their short positions as well. They've actually, most of retail opened their short positions in this section right here and they are not closing neither. All right, so everybody is staying inside of their short positions. That's good, but the bad thing is gonna come when we will basically start approaching the point of control. All right, because if somebody will start panic selling their short positions, it will basically help to push the price to the upside, right? And it will definitely break the point of control and we can start pulling more to the upside, right? So right now it's important to watch how the short positions are behaving, all right? And we need to be very careful to understand that a point of control made out of VPVR and the VPSV from the historical price section as well is right here at around $110,000, all right? This is very important. We can see that also some big player long positions been opened right here, but they are kind of closing carefully right now. So the important thing to understand is that when the long positions are closing, it put in pressure on short side, right? And when the short positions are closing, it's putting a pressure on the long side, all right? Because when you close a short position, basically you need to buy the contracts back, right? And basically that behaves on the price section. And then when somebody big is opening short position and then close it, it can create big spikes, right? So basically this is important to understand. We are still quite bearish on this kind of spectrum because we can see that the big shorts, the big players are still staying in their shorts. They are not closing. As you can see, we are increasing in the shorts. As we are going to the downside, we are creating lower lows, but the shorts basically creating higher lows. This is bearish, all right? This is bearish because the short positions in the market are increasing without, it would be bad if we would be creating also some huge open interest spikes. But as you can see, the open interest is not spiking at all. It is actually decreasing. So short squeeze is not in a risk at the moment. It can change obviously if retail will start shooting into some over-leveraged short positions in a panic. It can shoot up to the upside and then there will be a risk in from a short squeeze perspective. Short squeeze means that basically we will have a squeeze of short positions, so there will be a spike to the upside and then it will start liquidating the short positions and that would be bullish, right? At the moment the open interest is decreasing, all right, with increasement of the short positions, which is still bearish and no risk of short squeeze at this moment is in the market. Let's take a look what's going on right here. So CVD, cumulative volume delta, is decreasing, so market is selling on spot exchange. We can see the distribution. I've told you right here, since here in the previous video, since here basically we have started to got some accumulation from big players, but as you can see on the next high we have already started to create a big distribution, so this is bearish as well. If you take a look on some liquidation levels, if there will be a short squeeze, we will definitely be hitting these clusters. As you can see right here, $112,000 is still shining very brightly. That's also why I have told you that if you are planning some short positions, I have told you higher right here. If you are planning some short positions, definitely be aware of this 112,000 liquidation zone level, and the smart thing is to place a stop loss above it, right? So that's a secured stop loss. Let's take a look right now on the 4 hour time frame of fear and greed index. zigzags that you can monitor with me on our website, mycryptoparadise.com. It's for free. We have been taking a look at that number 20. I've told you that it nicely confluences with a support. If it's nicely confluencing with the support, it's working as a bottoming signal. As you can see, we are jumping out of that point 20. I want to see either a spike to the upside or consolidation, but I want to see the sentiment to go to 80 and touching some resistance with being at 80, which is extreme greed, basically suggests that there is too much fear of missing out. There's too much FOMO in the market, and we will have the reversal, right? So the rule of the thumb is that basically touching 80, take a look at the chart of Bitcoin. If there is some important resistance, it's working as a top-in signal. If we touch 20 and it's nicely confluences with some important support, it's working as a bottom-in signal. Let's take a look right now also on Ethereum. As you can see right here, let's go through the section since April 2025, because you know that we are in the impulse. We have actually concluded that impulse right here, and we have started that in April 2025. This was the first wave, secondary wave, then an extended third wave that subdivides itself into 5 small waves, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we have got a higher degree fourth wave and the fifth wave finish right here. After that, I do believe that this is the higher degree time frame first wave, and then basically we are right now creating the secondary wave. The secondary waves are deep corrections, as you know from our website mycryptoparadise.com. If you are educating yourself in our MCP-free university, you know that the secondary waves are deep corrections, and usually they are retracing more than 50% of the first wave. All right, usually in Bitcoin and Ethereum, it's that they touch 61.8 of basically retracement of that first wave. So 0.61 Fibonacci retracement level. In this case, it's right here. It's at $2,780 on Ethereum. So I do believe we still have some space to go down before starting to create the third wave that will take us above the previous high. All right, the third wave, and I do believe we will still have a little bit more downside on Ethereum. But what is the price action? This is just a bias from a daily time frame perspective, but let's zoom in a little bit. Let's zoom in a little bit on the waves. So basically the secondary waves, they are corrective mode waves, right? Corrective mode waves, we have 3, 6, 9 corrective mode waves. Because it's a deep correction, it's usually a zigzag or an expanded flat, usually a zigzag. In this case, we are creating a zigzag so far perfectly. The zigzag concludes itself into 3 smaller waves, A, B, C, and the A wave and the C wave are emotive mode waves, and the B wave is a corrective mode wave, and usually it is a triangle. So calculate with me. Because it's a motive mode wave, the A wave, 5 waves, 5 subwaves, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It was actually a leading diagonal, which is fine because the fourth wave went into the price territory of the first and secondary wave. Then we have got somehow triangle, but it was more like a double 3 pattern, ABC, right? It was ABC, even though somebody might call it an ascending triangle. I don't, because from the Elliott Wave perspective, the triangles need to have 5 subwaves, right? 5 subwaves. So in my opinion, it was a double 3 right here. We have been basically analyzing on lower time frames the subwaves together, so you know exactly what kind of corrective subwaves the double 3 had. But the important stuff was that basically we have not been able to break above the previous high. That's why we have started to jump to the downside from this resistance right here, and we have started the C wave. All right, the C wave is also a motive mode wave, subdivide itself into 5 smaller waves. So calculate with me. 1, 2, I do believe we have finished that right here. We have reclaimed the support into a resistance. This was very quick, but this was a perfect entry. If you have been able to get it, if you have been fast enough to get it, and if you have been awake at that time, this was a perfect time to get in, because we have got a nice reclaim from support into a resistance. All right, and then we have continued in the downside momentum. Third wave was formed, touched exactly our support that I have shared with you in the previous video, 1.272. So I do believe the third wave is concluded. Well, and right now we are forming the fourth wave. We can also take a look at the subwaves of the third wave, because there is a high probability that actually we might be creating right now the fourth wave of the third wave, right? We are analyzing that with the ParadiseTeam, and based on that in ParadiseFamilyVIP, we will be taking an action at it. But the rule of the thumb right now in this analysis video, I'm just giving you a basic basic ideas, all right? So the rule of the thumb is that we should not go below the previous low anymore, all right? If we will go below the previous low, it will be just a wick if we have not finished the third wave just yet, and we will be playing based on that in ParadiseFamilyVIP. But the rule of the thumb is that we will be having a jump out of the support as we have already did, and right now we need to consolidate or have a spike to the upside to retest this resistance area right here. So the fourth waves are very interesting because the fourth waves are usually the opposite of the secondary waves, right? And you can see that this secondary wave was actually not deep, all right? It was actually quite weak, right? It was actually quite weak. It wasn't deep, and it was very short, and it was very quick. The fourth waves are alternating the secondary waves, so it seems like the fourth wave will be a long one, all right? And usually it's a triangle, but because this one was very short, it wasn't deep, it was very shallow, this secondary correction, I believe that this fourth wave might be deep one, all right? So if it's going to be a triangle, I do believe that it will be an expanded triangle, all right? Expanded triangle, you know exactly how it looks, right? Expanding triangle, the basically final fifth wave is the largest one, and I do believe that we will probably do an expanding triangle, and the fifth one, the fifth wave, so I do believe, for example, first wave was already finished, now we are creating the secondary wave, third wave will be higher than a fourth wave, and the fifth wave that will touch right here this resistance. If it will conclude some nice trading opportunity, we will be definitely trading upon confirmations this and increase and basically enter some short positions with ParadiseFamilyVIPs in anticipation that we are about to create the final fifth wave. All right, definitely confirmations are needed on lower time frames. If you are trading without confirmations, you might get lucky sometimes, right? But in the long run, it's better to be cautious, better to be waiting for a proper trading setups when just you have the highest probability trade setups where you can place also your stop loss as tight as possible and the exit targets as wide as possible. So when you are right, and this is very important, this is probably the most important thing in trading, when you are right on your trading idea, you need to maximize your profitability as much as possible. That means you are right, you need to be able to make as much money as possible from it, and when you are wrong, you need to learn how to minimize your losses, all right? So that's very important for long-term profitability. So right now the rule of the thumb is that we will have the triangle, we will probably touch this resistance zone. If this will nicely work, we will then retrace to the downside. This is the highest probability price action development from the kind of perspective that we have right now. Obviously the things might change, there might be some well that will just buy, and if we reclaim this resistance, we will be definitely looking for some long positions. But this is coming right now at this moment it's coming with a lower probability, but definitely we are right now creating exaggerated bullish divergence because so far we have created a lower low but only equal low on MACD histogram. Yes, it's not confirmed, we have still bearish cross right here, but something to be aware of. I want to see this to be shaken out, and how we're gonna shake it out is by having a spike to the upside or a prolonged consolidation, which would nicely alternate the secondary wave, right? So this is a high probability right now. Bitcoin, Euro, you know exactly. Dollar index, you know exactly from the previous videos. USDT dominance, you know exactly. Weekly time frame on Bitcoin, you know exactly what's going on from the previous video. Daily time frame, I probably don't need to update it neither on Bitcoin because it's from the previous video, absolutely obvious. Right here on the 4-hour time frame, let's take a look if we are creating so far some bearish divergences. Not yet, we are having a lower high right here. Actually, we are creating a bullish divergence, right? Let me see if we have got a bullish cross right here. So that's something what's also nicely retrospecting the Ethereum. Usually Ethereum and Bitcoin, they are tied together. So basically what we see on Ethereum gonna happen on Bitcoin as well. Ethereum is just much more volatile, all right? So that's very important to take in consideration when taking some trades in Ethereum. If you take a look at RSI, no bullish divergence, but we have a bullish cross. Right now we are trying to do the reclaim. Good to say that we are in an oversold area. So how we get back to overbought area is again consolidation, so some kind of triangle and spike to the upside, right? Let's take a look at the resistance on Bitcoin on a 1 hour time frame. This is nicely visible. We are doing the same thing as on Ethereum. We have got the double 3 pattern made out of WXY, and now we are starting the fifth wave, where we have finished the first wave of that fifth wave, a secondary wave which was also shallow. It was a shallow correction, touched only the 618 Fibonacci retracement level, but not even that. Actually, if it would touch 618, that would be right, but take a look at this. Very shallow, very shallow. It was short of touching that 618 Fibonacci retracement level. Well, and right now we have finished, or we are finishing the third wave, but the important thing is that 1.618 Fibonacci retracement level will be a support for the third wave. So even though we would create another low, all right, and on Bitcoin we are not starting the fourth wave correction yet, this 1.618 Fibonacci retracement level will be holding anyway, all right. This is the support for a third wave. So after we are done with the third wave, I do believe that the fourth wave is already finished, but again you need to understand that we might touch it one more time. The subwaves are telling me that the 5 moves to the downside are done, but again you need to understand that we might still touch this. And even if we have finished the third wave and we are creating the expanded triangle on Bitcoin pair as well, we will probably really touch it, yeah, with the second wave. So the expanding triangles are gonna be similar on Bitcoin as on Ethereum. On Bitcoin, the important resistance is at around $107,000 because it's the top of the first wave, all right, and then a 618 Fibonacci retracement level as well. If I analyze the whole section that we have so far created, and I put my Fibonacci retracement tool from the top to the bottom, we can see that it's nicely confluencing also with the 0.618 Fibonacci retracement level, which is at $109,000. The only thing is it's already in the price territory of the first and secondary waves, so it's low probability that we will go that high, all right. It's possible, so definitely stop losses needs to be above that $112,000. Also because of the liquidation cluster that I have shared with you right here, it's a low probability. Very small probability is that we will have a wick above the secondary wave, and the invalidation will be if we will start reclaiming the secondary wave, right? Because from the Elliott Wave perspective, this is a no-go zone, all right, if we are in the impulse to the downside or an ending diagonal, because it's a C wave, it can be also an ending diagonal. If it's an ending diagonal, the fourth wave can actually go in the price territory of the first and secondary wave, as you can see right here, fourth wave finishing at the price territory of the first and secondary wave. But so far we are kind of aggressive. I think we will have the momentum to have an impulse, not an ending diagonal. So if it's going to be an impulse, we might have a spike in that price territory, but usually it just ends at the top of the first wave, which is at around $106,000. So definitely same thing. I'm looking right now for the fourth corrective mode wave. It's probably going to be an expanded triangle. Once we have the fifth wave and we will have the confirmations, we will be definitely looking for strengthening some short exposure. All right, Paradisers, so this is all from me right now. Smash the like button if you have enjoyed this video. You can also take a look at this. We are having a bearish divergence on the 1 hour time frame, and it's confirmed with the bearish cross. So definitely we are in a corrective mode wave. This is no for longs, all right? No for longs, no for longs. You know, from the higher degree perspectives, everything is bearish, so no go for longs. We are focusing only on short positions. So I will see you again on Saturday, and until then, take it easy and smooth. Cheers.
My crypto paradise.